So right now I'm getting ready for our day 3 of our fulfillment event. And, a lot of people, when they think about events and think about fulfilling what they've already sold, they think a lot about the information that they're giving, especially if you're a coach or a service provider. And while that is really important, of course, I cannot encourage you enough to think not just about the information, but really the transformation that you're offering people. And it's really important to think about like the soil and not like putting seeds on hard ground, but really think about how to cultivate an environment where people can really grow and change. And so that's exactly what I want to talk about with you today. So people aren't just clapping for you, but they are changing from the inside out. So let's get started. So if you are a coach or you have a course, I cannot recommend an actual event to fulfill on your offer enough. And there's a few reasons why. Number one, the event itself, it engages your client's whole nervous system. And when their whole nervous system is engaged, they feel more emotion. And that emotion actually helps them remember information way more. And I don't know about you, but I don't really just want to sell offers, but I really want to change people's lives. And an event and a place for people to really immerse themselves is a critical way to do that. The second thing that's really amazing about an event for your clients is that any doubt that they potentially had, it really gets drowned out. So if you've ever bought something before and you feel really excited through the buying process, and then after you buy it, you have some second guessing thoughts in your head, and you're like, can I do this? Is this for me? Am I equipped? And what an event does is it actually just drowns all of that out. And I think another really critical piece of that is that people get to see who they can be. I know for us, our event, and I'll tell you a little bit about how we do our events, but people will come back year after year after year. And so someone who is coming for the very first year sees someone who's been there for the last 3 years. And so they get to see who they could be when they stay plugged in over time. And that visual representation, when they see that, they think about that more than the doubt that they feel in their heart. Okay, now I want to tell you why having a fulfillment event is critical for you as the business owner. So I mentioned earlier that events engage the whole nervous system, which increases the emotion. Well, the thing about someone experiencing so much emotion is that emotion creates devotion. Emotion creates loyalty. So I always think about this example, but this is kind of random, but I have specific memories of going on college campus tours when I was looking at colleges a long time ago. But there were a few college tour guides that really made an impact on me. They were so engaging, they were so encouraging, and they really created a lot of emotion and helping me see who I could become in that college. Now, what I noticed is that when I was ultimately trying to decide what school I wanted to go to, I felt this pull to go to the college because of the tour guide more than the college itself. And that's kind of what happens is people come to these events, they experience you, they experience your essence, they feel this emotion, and then they're like, I'm loyal to that leader. I'm loyal to this organization, or I'm loyal to this brand. And then you start to get repeat customers. Another thing about creating all this emotion in them is that they want to talk about it. Think about the things that you love, like your kids. If you have kids, you know that you obviously love your kids so much. And all you want is to talk about your kids. Even though other people don't really care as much about your kids, you care because you love them. And this is what I love. This is what word of mouth marketing is that you really transform someone's heart so much that they feel so much emotion and they want to talk about it. Not to mention, when you transform someone from the inside out, oftentimes people are looking at them and they notice a difference and they can't help but ask. In fact, we had a student one time, her name was Abigail, but she came to one of our in-person events. Then she went straight to the grocery store afterwards. She saw someone that she knew at the grocery store, and the person that she knew, she looked at her and she said, "You seem so different. What have you done? What have you changed?" And she said, "I actually just came back from a sales training." And that person that she told about the sales training to, she ended up buying from us as well. So that was a perfect word of mouth marketing because she was so transformed and the transformation did the talking for her. Now, especially for a business owner, what I have found personally is that when you have a fulfillment event, the event does so much of the heavy lifting for you in terms of delivery. So I know a lot of people will have, courses that last a lifetime, and courses that, or coaching programs that last an entire year. And honestly, that is the case for us. Our course lasts a lifetime, and the actual coaching element, it's an entire year, and it's really drawn out. But the event itself, I feel like, does so much of the heavy lifting. And then throughout the rest of the year, we can just kind of clarify any questions or help them refine their message even more. And people really feel like they get their money's worth just in the event itself. And honestly, I feel like that they do a lot of times. Now, for years, the way we used to do our sales events, like since 2018, is we would every single month, which this sounds crazy now, every single month we would sell, fulfill, sell, fulfill, sell, fulfill. So we would do an in-person training once a month. Now, for those of you who put on events, you know that is absolutely psychotic, and it kind of is. But we were doing them so much that we actually had a whole training space created because we were spending so much time traveling to different places and getting them set up. This happened up until 2020. We had our last one in March of 2020, and then we kind of paused on the events. And since then, we kind of have changed the pace to sell, 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 and then fulfill one big, powerful time. And we do basically one fulfillment event a year. And I want to tell you why this is 100 times better. It's actually 100 times better for a lot of reasons, but really the main reason is that when they buy, they get immediate access to the material and the training. And then they come to the event after already consuming it one time. It's kind of like going to a Taylor Swift concert. Lydia has done Taylor Swift's makeup, by the way. We have photo evidence of her with Taylor. Can I put that picture on the screen?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on the screen. Photo evidence of Lydia. She has touched Taylor Swift's face, and now she's touching mine. But it's like, you love to go to the concert that you've already know the music to. Like you wanna know the album before you go and you experience it in person. And so what I've found is that people who buy the offer, they get the material, they learn the sales skills, and they kind of get warmed up, and then they come to the event and it's like experiencing a concert, and they get to have the concert experience with all their friends. So it's so much better. They can kind of relax. There's not as much pressure, and they can really feel really prepared versus it being like a drinking out of a water hydrant. So I want to give you 5 kind of little micro tips that you can be thinking about if you are considering a fulfillment event. And by the way, they don't have to be huge. Ours used to be like 7 people at a time. I think we have about 100 this time. But the 5 little things that you can do to really cultivate this amazing environment to help make sure people are transformed. So number 1, prepare the soil. What does that mean? You think so much about selling people when they are about to buy, but I'm here to tell you that is only the first sales job, is when they give you the credit card. You have to consistently get buy-in, honestly, multiple times a day throughout the fulfillment event. So when I'm thinking about preparing for the event, I'm actually not even thinking about the actual content itself. I'm thinking about how to frame the content to make people care about the content. I mean, I'm selling sales skills, okay? I don't know how many people, go to sleep at night dreaming about how they just really want to learn how to sell. Like, they really don't want to, they need to. And so it is my job to turn their need into a want. And you do that by framing the material, not just by telling the material. I think a good way to think about this is kind of like a present. Like if I was going to give Lydia a present, okay? It was her birthday and she's really special to me. I love her so much. It's a lot of work to think about what she loves, what she needs, what she would be excited about. Once I get the present, then I have to wrap it in a way that really excites her to open it. Like when she sees the present, she should be like, "Oh, you got that for me? It looks so beautiful." And so what people are thinking about is, okay, what's inside of the present, which of course is really important. But what you should really be thinking about is like, how do I wrap it so that people feel anticipation? I'm pregnant, okay? So I've had This is my third baby. I've had baby showers and wedding showers, and or a birthday party. If you have been given presents, you know when someone walks in with a good present. Okay, it is like beautifully wrapped, and you can tell they put a lot of intention in it, and you are actually more excited to see the present come through than you are even to open the present. And that's how I want you to think about framing your material, is how can I wrap it in a way that people are so excited to open it. It's interesting. I was reading this book called This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. We worked with them a couple of years ago, and so I wanted to read the book. It's all about alcohol control and how to control your drinking. And there's a study done that said people who drink alcohol, they are the most excited and feel the best about the drink when they see the waiter bringing the drink. Not even when they take a sip, not even when they finish the drink. It's like when they see it coming, they feel that's like the highest of highs that they feel. And that's how you got to think about the framing. How can I make people feel so excited to listen to the material rather than just kind of like take it in because they bought it? Get them rebought in so that they can really pay attention and absorb it. So once you've thought about all the framing and you thought about delivering the material, the next thing I would encourage you to think about is how can you water the seed? And what I mean by that is how can you help people really implement what they're learning? I have been in many, many rooms, many, many masterminds, and the ones that I feel like I get the most out of is actually the ones that I feel like I'm able to talk and able to practice rather than sitting there and listening the whole time. And, I think with sales skills with us specifically, it can be really challenging to make sure that you are kind of deliberately practicing. So I'll give you an example. When you are playing a sport, like for example, my kids play golf, you can easily say, hey, putt this 1 inch to the right. And then they'll putt it and they'll try to get it 1 inch to the right. That is a deliberate practice. But with communicating, it's a little bit harder to do that, to say, hey, I'm deliberately practicing this specific tone or this specific language or this specific wording. And as much as possible, as if you can give people the opportunity to implement and practice, give them the mic, give them the time to talk. That is where they really learn, and that's where it really comes to life. Not only is the person who's with the mic learning, everyone else is learning so much more by watching someone else implement. And you can kind of come up with your own coaching structure. Ours is very, very simple. Basically, we give them a method. We have them perform, so to speak. We help them modify it, and they do it again. They perform, we give them feedback, they modify it, they do it again. They perform, we give them feedback, they modify it, and they do it again. And that is how you help people do deliberate practice with communication. And, that's another reason why it's so powerful to have one fulfillment event after people have bought and they've had plenty of time to kind of listen and learn and read, is they've actually had a few reps to already be ready to come and practice. Another thing that's really cool about allowing people to practice is they get to experience, I don't like to call it a hot seat, but it's really like a warm seat. I had, this is a crazy story, but I was actually headed home from Tampa, Florida from a mastermind. And one of the guys that was in the mastermind, he actually has his own plane and he flies his plane home. And he was like, hey, Macy, I can take you home in my plane. I know that sounds really creepy and scary and wild, but he's the nicest guy. His name is Bill Allen. I checked all my resources and I was like, you know what? YOLO. I'm going on this plane with him. He's a fighter pilot, okay? He's a dad. He's like the sweetest guy. But he was telling me a story while we're in the plane. And he said, the way that we're trained is they put us in simulations where they put you in high intense environments that aren't real, but they make them feel really real. And you do it again and again and again and again and again. By the time there is an actual intense experience, you don't even feel anything because you've been through it so much. And that's what people are really missing. They wait until they get to the most important moment and they haven't even been in a simulated experience or a warm seat or a hot seat. in order to like be able to be calm when it matters most. So as much as possible as you can get people to talk, to practice, and honestly, as you, the business owner, it really helps the room kind of create the experience. So really all of like the pressure isn't even on you. And that's also how community is built as well. So give people the mic, give people the mic, give people the mic. So important. The next thing you can do when you're considering a fulfillment event, I like to think about this as like arranging the sunlight by kind of having the environment really reflect your brand, but also reflect a theme. There's a huge difference between being like on theme and on brand. And you want to have a theme that relates to your brand. And sometimes the theme doesn't really relate to your brand automatically, but with a message, it absolutely can. So for example, this specific event, we're calling it Sell Like a Girl. And the theme is all about kind of feminine flowers and blooming, but it's not just the flowers that are cool, it's the meaning behind the flowers. And so talking about framing, there was a whole message about how flowers, it's just so crazy. When you think of flowers, you think of just delicate and fragile and, like not strong. But the truth is, so many aspects of a flower being so delicate is the very thing that makes it so strong. And, this whole world would collapse if we didn't have flowers to be able to, sustain wildlife and the earth and all of that good stuff. So we just really made people, all these women, feel excited about being a woman and being feminine and use all those characteristics to sell. Things like gifts, that is so special. People, like the thing about a gift is that it kind of re-gets people's attention. I love to put gifts on people's kind of chairs if there's a break and then they come back and there's a new gift. It could just be like candy, or it could be like a special, like I think we're going to have like a coffee bar today. Just anything that kind of perks up people's attention is a great way to make sure the environment is right. Also, the way you can think about this is it's like a marination for their minds. So I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but sometimes people will come into like a coaching program and they kind of come with this spirit of like second guessing. And they don't even realize that they're doing this, but their mindset is kind of like side eye. It's kind of like arms crossed. I'm just here to see what this is all about. Not I'm here to see how I can make this change my life. And this marinating environment, like if you think about a marination for meat, what it does is it tenderizes it. So anything that's kind of hard in their mind or in their hearts, a really powerful environment with the right music and the right theme and the right honestly, just like colors and MC, it helps marinate their mind, soften their mind so that they can absorb the information. So if you're anything like me, I am borderline manic about my like program and my material. Not everyone is like this, but I care so much about people mastering the skill of sales that I can get kind of caught up in the material and not realizing or remembering how important it is to let the roots really intertwine through connection. So having really long breaks, having time for people to have meals, having people being able to like we would have like mocktails where people could come together and be able to mingle. The thing about people's roots being intertwined, when they see other people can do it, or they see other people kind of going through the challenges of entrepreneurship, they feel so reinvigorated that they can do it too. This connection is absolutely critical for brand. With AI, information and the value of information is going to significantly go down, but what's going to keep the information valuable is the community around it. So really keeping people as connected as possible, and that helps them make them want to come back. In fact, someone did a testimonial yesterday saying, the first year she came, she only knew one person, and the second year she came, she couldn't wait to see all her friends. And that's exactly what you want people to feel when they're coming into your rooms and that represent your brand. Okay, the last thing that I want to encourage you to do as someone who puts on events is to really think about tending to the garden. What do I mean by that? Make sure you are interacting with your people. I know it is exhausting to be on stage and to be presenting, day after day after day, all day long. And then to think about going into the crowd and to talking to people, it can be overwhelming for sure. But this is where you can gauge how well you're doing. Anytime someone has a question, or even if someone has like an aha moment, that you're surprised that that was their aha moment, that is an indication that you could probably do a better job of teaching. So like, for example, someone told me that just something really simple, that they're like, I never even realized that this is what you meant by that. And I thought it was so obvious that I was saying what I thought I was saying. And by her telling me that she just realized it, it helped me realize, man, I could do a much better job of teaching that or explaining that next time. Because the thing is, if one person has a question or if one person is confused, the chances of many other people being confused is very, very high. So you can come back on stage and, clarify anything that you might need. And also just open the floor for people to ask questions and share their takeaways on the mic. This helps people build momentum as well and see other people kind of winning. It helps them realize that they're winning as well. So I hope this inspires you to really create amazing environments and fulfillment events for your clients if you have a course or a coaching business. And I hope that you can really think of yourself as not a lecturer or a teacher, but really more of a gardener that cultivates amazing transformation. Now, if you're watching this and you see some of the B-roll of the event and you're like, man, I wouldn't mind being in that room. I don't blame you. This is a room full of women who, used to think sales was really manipulative and gross, and they would feel really uncomfortable. And now it's something that they actually enjoy. They're having fun, and it's really happening in a second nature way for them. And all of them actually started in something called the Sell Your Offer Challenge. That is really the entry point to see if we could be a good fit to work together. I'll put the link in the description below for you to check it out. It's a 5-day virtual challenge where there's content. And also when you join the Platinum or VIP ticket, you get personalized coaching from me for 5 days straight. So check out the link below and hopefully I'll see you there.